Are these gurus the real deal? Are these masterminds and courses worth it? On today's episode, we are going to talk about the gurus, the courses, the masterminds, and the big question, is it worth it? Well, this is definitely a hot topic. It can go so many ways, so much to unpack. But let's talk about some of the specific courses that I think all of us are pretty much aware of. Your trucking gurus, your Amazon gurus, and most recently, my personal favorite, your real estate gurus, all promising that somehow, some way, with a 700 credit score and a capital investment of, say, just 100 grand, you too can become a millionaire. Now, is this true or false? Well, I have many friends that actually go down the rabbit hole, that actually purchase these courses and masterminds and sit through the 2 and 3 hour webinars, and they feed me the information and they ask me, is this in fact possible? Well, it's definitely my favorite thing to do because I love to reverse engineer anything, especially when these gurus give actual data. And well, here's the truth. The truth is these individuals that are teaching these concepts are in fact successful. They have in fact made multiple 6 figures in their areas of genius, in their niches. And that is definitely something to be celebrated. And of course, that is what they're teaching you, to time collapse your results in that area. But the lifestyle that they're portraying, the bigger than life lives that they are living, what actually you're buying into, which is in fact at the 7-8 figure mark, truthfully, 99% of them have reached that 7 to 8 figures because they're teaching you. They're making it off the education component, not the actual business infrastructure that they're teaching. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's incredibly noble for an individual to believe in themselves, to go out, to pursue business, to pursue entrepreneurship and do well with it. Because remember, only 1% of entrepreneurs are actually bringing home profit in their pockets, $400,000 a year. It's incredible. And the individuals that are teaching these masterminds and these courses have in fact achieved that. So by definition, they are truly the 1%. But the fact that they are now catapulted into the stratosphere as multimillionaires and billionaires, it's because they are teaching their area of genius to you. So for those of you who do get into these courses and then you start to deploy this knowledge and you start to launch your businesses in these areas, and after 2 years, you're beating yourself up because you're only bringing home $150,000 or $175,000, I want to encourage you to be patient and to be kind to yourself. Because if you were to have a private conversation with these individuals, they would tell you that you were probably further along than they were at year 2. But yet and still, you're beating yourselves up. You're being so incredibly hard on yourselves, as opposed to truly celebrating what you've accomplished. Because right at that moment, you are in fact the 3%, well on your way to being a 1%er. And so I think that the gurus and the masters in these areas need to be more transparent about it. I think that they should, in fact, disclose their timelines of what it looked like in the beginning to basically manage your expectations. So I wanted to really touch on that because I've had personal conversations with several friends of mine that are in fact experiencing this. The other part is once you get into these different type of niches and decide whether or not it's for you, there are other disciplines that are not being taught in these masterminds. And frankly, I'm not entirely sure where you can get this education until you're actually in the trenches. And that is, well, basically operations, trial and error, and continuously working to improve and make everything excellent to give you better margins and of course profitability. So before you go into any business, whether or not it's right for you or not, whether or not you enjoy it, the ebbs and flows of the industry, you have to know your break-even points. You have to know your worst case scenarios. You have to every day be intentional with every dollar going out, because so many focus on the dollars coming in. And again, even with your gurus, some of them, even if they are not spending a ton of money on paid ads, they're investing incredible amounts of money and resources into their organic growth to get in front of you, to capture all the eyes. Okay. This is no easy feat. People are working tirelessly to gain attention from the masses, and it's expensive. So just because more money is coming in, the bottom line is, how much are you in fact keeping? Everybody loves to say their top line, multiple 6 figures, multiple 7 figures, we're hitting 8 figures. But what are you keeping at the end of the day? So that's also something that I want you to be mindful of when you are in fact considering a business, because you can get yourself into a situation where you are completely over leveraged. Not that it's not a great business idea, not that it's not a great business model, and not that you aren't doing a fantastic job in its lifetime, in the business lifetime from when you started it to where you are at the moment. But depending on all of the moving parts, you can potentially find yourself over leveraged. And because of the fact that you didn't pay attention to many of the break-even points, the risk, the cash flow scenarios, etc., you can quickly find yourself into a situation of bankruptcy. And I've seen that happen all too often. And that is crushing, because you start to judge yourself. You start to grade yourself on this outcome of bankruptcy, failure, if you will. But you never really look at how it got there. You never give yourself the credit to being able to drive sales, which is one of the hardest things in business. You may have been an incredible CEO and visionary, and to be able to close deals and drive sales, but you were weak on the operations side. Or you just didn't realize exactly all of the moving parts. Therefore, you were short with cash flow and you got squeezed. These are all realities. And that's why the scenarios have to be run. The budgets have to be run. Not only your business budgets, but also your personal budgets, because for many of you, you are the business and the business is you. And you're not looking at it as two different entities. So when the business does well, you begin to do well. But oftentimes that's not how it should be for many, many, many years. If you truly want the business to succeed, when the business starts to do well, you as the person need to keep staying the course, keep operating on a lean budget to reinvest in the business and make sure that it's financially healthy to be able to withstand absolutely everything. But they don't teach that in these courses either. So back to the question, are these gurus the real deal? Are these masterminds and courses worth it? Well, continuing education is everything. And the more you can expose yourself to, the more information, all of that's invaluable. But in addition, while you are gathering these tips and tricks, while you are gathering these blueprints that are being sold for so much money, please make sure to do the behind the scenes work. Make sure that you are focusing on discipline, on budgets, on strategy, running best case scenarios and worst case scenarios. I assure you that if you do that behind the scenes work that is, well, not really sexy and not really sellable, anything that you attach that work to will ensure success, because it's being intentional and it's being managed.